This story is based on real events, told in a way that protects the community involved. I'm Jason. This is my channel, EMS Pizza Politics. Welcome to the table. What I want to talk to you about is a small rural town losing EMS coverage, losing quality local coverage, and more importantly, how to make sure this doesn't happen to your community. It starts with a new agency lead, a new chief, you could say, who behind the scenes made a deal. EMS was not going to be their focus. That small town was also negotiating with the ambulance agency that provided the EMS coverage to their town. Nobody told them about that deal. This wound up the truck being pulled out of that community. So now the truck that was within the community is now 20 miles away and unstaffed. One of the things this local department learned in the process of all of this was that they could do some of this on their own. Because months leading up to this, they have been responding to calls, picking up the slack that the EMS agency that was covering their community couldn't cover. And they've been billing for them, and they've been doing quite well. And come to find out that there was some funds in the town that were left over from a construction project that had not been completed, not been started. They could fund EMS clinicians on the ambulance 24/7 to provide coverage to their community to make up for that gap in the staffing shortage at the EMS agency that was providing them coverage for free to their community. They could do it well. And then eventually the town did vote to provide pay for those crews covering those calls. Not great pay, not a lot of staff available to actually do it, but that was a stepping stone. This plan was what you might refer to as a Band-Aid. So then we come to the gut punch. How do we continue to do this? You plan, and planning takes time. Planning doesn't take a year. Planning for something sustainable takes more than that. And it takes individuals working together, collaborating on maybe even a project that would involve several communities. That'll take more than a year in a lot of instances to accomplish. To get a lot of people, a lot of type A personalities into a room to sit down and agree, hey, to make this sustainable, we need to do something that would be difficult and to make difficult choices. So when the time came to say, hey, that funding is up, the funding from that construction project has run out. What do we do until this other plan is done? And the town voted no. We're not going to do it anymore. While that community had 24/7 response in their community, now that response is coming from 20 miles away. And it's difficult to tell somebody who can't breathe that your ambulance is 20 miles away. This is the birth of EMS Pizza Politics right there. Going to these select board meetings and going through that process and seeing things get voted no by people who were elected to a select board to say, I'm here to serve the town, and not have a full understanding of EMS or the way it runs or how to run a structured EMS system within a community and how to make it sustainable. And I was so frustrated. And the meeting minutes for these community meetings, these town meetings, select board meetings, they didn't really paint a whole picture. They painted this was the topic and we voted on it, and this was the outcome of the vote. But there was no record of the discussion. There was no ability to say, let's go to the tape. Let's look at the video. Let's listen to the discussion. They have some ARPA funds left over. And my suggestion to them was use those ARPA funds and invest in transparency. Purchase an OWL meeting camera and put that up so we could record these meetings and we could publish them on YouTube. It would cost the camera, and then there would be no additional expense to the town, and we could publish the videos, and that would be a level of transparency that we haven't had before. So people could see these conversations happening at the select board. They could see the frustration of the local department, and they could see what was going on. They voted yes to buy the camera. It took them months to buy the camera, though. In the meantime, the frustration persisted. This was me bringing my camera, my phone to select board meetings and recording the select board meetings and publishing them on my YouTube channel called EMS Pizza Politics. I came up with that name at night after a meeting when I needed to publish this on YouTube, and I didn't know what to call the channel. And I said, I love EMS. Pizza brings everyone together, and this is about politics. That is how we named the channel. That is the EMS Pizza Politics origin story. So don't let this happen to you. If this sounds familiar, you're the audience, right? If you are in a town who has no EMS coverage in your community or limited EMS coverage in your community, then this channel is for you. We're going to talk about the regulation side of EMS, how choices get made in EMS by people who are at a table who may not have a full understanding of EMS, may not have the understanding of the clinician on the street, and may not have the perspective of the patient. Also, it's to let you know that those officials that make those decisions, they aren't the enemy. They are our allies. They're just not EMS clinicians. They're not EMS agency administrators. They don't understand. These folks are the ones who live in your community, who basically said, you know what? I'm upset that every time I go to a ball game at the park, the nails or screws are sticking out of the benches that we have to sit on, and we can do better. That the handicap ramp at the town office isn't suitable for people to use in a slight drizzle, let alone if there's snow or rain out, and they want to make a difference. So they take that first step and they run for office and they get elected. They're there, and now they're the ones that are making decisions over these things, these important things in your town, how public safety works in your community. Nobody ever taught them about EMS, and that's the gap. And gaps get filled with opinions. So talk to your boards, your select boards, your city councils, your leaders. Talk to them. Talk to them now. Talk to them before the crisis, not after the crisis, because after the crisis, it just leads to frustration and anger. Anger leads to fear. Fear leads to the dark side. Bring a chief, bring a paramedic with you, bring an EMT with you, but bring them there before those votes happen, not after. This isn't just that small town. We'll call them small town, hometown USA. That's not just their problem. It's every town's problem right now. Every small town that doesn't have a full-time department, even the bigger towns, it's just everybody's problem right now. Whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to tell someone that if they're having difficulty breathing, you got 20 minutes to wait for that ambulance to come. There's a lot that can happen in 20 minutes. On future episodes, we're going to bring some of these experts to the table. We're going to bring some leadership experts. We're going to bring some regulatory experts. We're going to bring some education experts. We're going to bring some clinical experts, educators, leadership consultants, licensing regulators, physicians, medical directors. We'll bring those folks to the table, and we'll talk about the things going on in EMS. We'll talk about the regulatory side. We'll push back a little. We'll ask the why, because the why is always important, and we need to understand that. I'm Jason. This is my channel, EMS Pizza Politics. Welcome to the table.